for the whole binder made about $5,000 off a $5 purchase. And I'm like,
Oh my.
holy cow, this is wild.
All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome back. Another episode, Cards and Content. Big episode today as we finally get a Pokemon content creator, collector, reseller on the pod to talk about what is going on in the Pokemon space. We've been talking about this for a little while around this momentum in the Pokemon, in the Pokemon space and what is causing that. We've seen a little bit of a cool down in the market since we really started having these conversations. Is that for any reason? Will it continue to rise? There's some big sets coming out. So we'll get into an interview here shortly with our friend Ryan, again, who is a Pokemon content creator, reseller, flipper, collector. I think you guys will get a kick out of that interview. It's a lot of fun. Saw a little similarities in my story and his story. So a lot of fun to talk to him. Really enjoyed our conversation. So that is coming up shortly. But we're going to start with the first thing, the one thing on my mind as we start this episode today. It has to be NFL Draft Day 1. You guys know by now, we film these a little early just to make sure that there is time to prep these episodes. So unfortunately, we won't get the Day 2 chatter on this episode as we were filming this on Friday morning just to make sure it is ready for first thing Monday. But we got Day 1 last night. And Day 1 had some interesting things happen, and this is certainly the thing on my mind today. So a lot happened, a lot to unpack, and I want to talk a little bit about more of the potential in the trading card space, not so much the draft piece, because I had posted some content on my Instagram story, and people said, well, will that be a Topps autograph? Will that be a Panini autograph? Will these be exclusive? And we've talked about, and I'm very open about I'm trying to think of the right word here, about how much I disagree with the exclusive autographs. I don't think they're good for cards and the end consumer. I think they benefit the card companies, not the collector. But we've got some, we got the first round out of the way. Some big names taken, and you can kind of get an idea early on, right? Like none of these companies have confirmed this. I have not asked. They might have confirmed, their exclusive deals online, but I have not asked this, any of them, hey, are these deals exclusive, whatever. But I think we get a pretty good idea of who we're going to have autographs of in some of the upcoming product. I will say, because Panini still has the license through what appears to be March 31st of 2026, and I'll get into why that date is important here in a second, it looks like since they still have the license, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I feel better right now about the class they've got and the autograph deals they have and some of the guys in this class versus last year, just because last year the biggest four quarterbacks really Topps ended up having, the biggest two wide receivers at the time, certainly Marv and Neighbors, Topps ended up having, and the best tight end prospect maybe ever, Topps had as well with Brock Bowers. This year you go into it and you're like, well, how do you know who Panini has? I would imagine a pretty good idea of who Panini has some kind of autograph deal with or who they anticipate having in their products. Again, it has to be an autograph perspective, would be the 6 players they have videos with on their page from the first round. That would make the most sense, right? If you go on Panini's page and you're looking at this, the first one, Will Campbell, rocking a Patriots hat. There's a little video. The caption is paving the way, the Patriot way. Congratulations, Will Campbell. Although I was an anti-Will Campbell guy, didn't want him. Hopefully he's amazing. I think I talked in the bonus pod with Gaby when we were talking about, what to expect in this episode or what to expect in the draft. I was like, please don't take this dude. I think he's got short arms. I don't want this guy. I want Abdul Carter. Didn't work out. We got Will Campbell. But there's a video with Panini saying, he's got the rated rookie belt. He's got the Patriots hat, etc. The next one, Travis Hunter. One of, the top guys to chase in product for sure. Went 2 overall. Jaguars come up, make a splash. I thought Cleveland did well on that trade to get 36, to get a first next year. I thought Cleveland did well on that trade. But Travis Hunter will for sure be going into the season. Not sure he's going to be an amazing. I don't know what he's going to be, but going into the season, there will be demand for Travis Hunter. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Then the third guy Panini posted a video with, Ashton Genty, the best running back in the class. No doubt about it. Second in Heisman. This guy's the real deal. Seems pretty good there. Solid start with Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty. Fourth one, Tet McMillan from Arizona. Top 10 wide receiver. Goes to the Cardinals. Next one, first round wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers. First wide receiver taken in the first round for the Packers since 2002, Matthew Golden. He's a Houston kid and started there in Houston, went to Texas. I honestly thought the Cowboys were going to take him at 12. They went Tyler Booker instead. But Matthew Golden in Green Bay, it was pretty cool watching him. He took over the mic, was chanting Green Bay. Seems like a high energy guy, but goes to Green Bay with Jordan Love. Will definitely be some demand there. First round wide receiver with a QB prospect like Love, who has some demand in a market that sells like that. And then they posted with Mason Graham as the sixth one. So Mason Graham, top 5 player, Michigan, as much as I don't like him, sells, right? Michigan guys like Ohio State have a pretty passionate fan base, will definitely sell. He's a top 5 pick to the Browns. So early on, you see Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Tet McMillan, Matthew Golden for sure. Those are going to be, the offensive skill position guys are going to carry it more than a Will Campbell or a Mason Graham, but feel pretty good right there. We already know they signed a deal. I don't say exclusive because I don't know if it is exclusive, but we know they signed a deal with Shedeur Sanders. At this point, when we're recording this podcast, he's not been picked. I would imagine he goes early second tonight. We'll see. But you'll get that post as well. We already know that happened because they had Shedeur Sanders exclusive autographs dropped before the draft for $300 a pack, and we ripped a video on those on YouTube. So I know they have Shedeur Sanders autos. So right there, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Tet McMillan, Matthew Golden. The thing that does stand out that you don't love right away is Topps has some of the biggest names. Again, Cam Ward, Topps yesterday. I'm on Topps' website right now. You go to Topps Now for football, and it says it's like Cam Ward 2025 Topps Now football card. Look for autos and triple autos. Click on the Cam Ward card, and there's a Cam Ward like rookie. Honestly, it's not a very good looking card. It's just him in a draft suit. Don't love it. Obviously, they don't have the licensing, so you can't really have it. But they did do a good job last year with the Caleb Williams, the Drake May, the Jane Daniels. Those cards were popular. But you can get those, and you can search for triple autos in there with Caleb Williams, Cam Ward, and Bryce Young, last 3 number 1 picks, and then Ashton Genty. So it looks like Genty is an autograph guy in both products. You like to see that. That is good. I think everybody that is a collector in whether you sell boxes, whether you rip boxes, join breaks, you're looking for autographs of your favorite player, whatever that is, you would definitely, I think 99% of people would say Panini and Topps having autographs of Ashton Genty is a win for the market. Haven't seen Jackson Dart. I know he's been in Bowman Chrome U in the past. He's got autos in Prism draft picks for Panini. We sold one on draft night, so I know he's got autos there. So Jackson Dart has had autographs with both companies before. He was the only other quarterback outside of Cam Moore taken in the first round. So the only thing on my mind right now is who are we going to have autographs in products before Panini loses the licensing. And I said the licensing thing, and I talked about the exclusives. I say that because I saw a tweet the other day. I think it was Sports Card Investors team that put it out. But it said, Brian's pulling it up now, but I think they had reached out to an agent who confirmed that Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and another one we have not talked about on the pod because this information came out since then. But it said that it had said that they had signed Mahomes. And Mahomes' autograph deal ends the same time, which is March 31st, 2026. And that's the day before Topps is supposed to take over the licensing. So Topps is supposed to take it over on April 1st, 2026 is what it sounds like. So the Shedeur, Travis Hunter, Mahomes autograph deal will end likely the day before. So going to be interesting to see how this works. Brian's pulling it up here, searching for it. It's going to be down a little bit more. It's right there on the left. The Mahomes, Travis Hunter. Yep. So this is on Sports Card Investors' IG page. It says, agents have confirmed to us that Panini's autograph deals with Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, and Mahomes will expire on March 31st, 2026, the day before Topps officially takes over the NFL license on April 1st, 2026. While Topps has not confirmed it will acquire these autograph deals, the timing of Panini's contract expirations strongly suggests that Topps will attempt to at least secure these athletes' autographs for its officially licensed trading cards. So, looks like Panini is going to have some big names in 2025 product right away. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Hunter, again, one of the top rookies, and then the best player in the NFL. That's a pretty good get. We talked about it before on the pod when we were in Dallas, that Leaf had signed Mahomes to an autograph deal. Didn't say it was exclusive, but they have had Leaf autos with Mahomes, and Mahomes hasn't signed for the first time in a while. Hasn't signed with Panini in a long time. Now, he's back. They've got some big names in the class. Feel pretty good about it. Again, wish both of these companies had NFL licensing, wish both of them had deals with all of these players. I think we would get some better product, but gonna be curious to see what these products look like when we start getting into your scores, your Donruss, your Elite, your Gold Standard, some of your early 2025 product. We're less than 100 days. We just talked about this on the last episode. We're less than 100 days from the National. There's normally stuff in the silver packs, the gold packs, in the VIP packs you get when if you buy the VIP admission through the National. They normally have cards there of these guys in their NFL rookie uniforms. Who are we going to see autographs of when the National rolls around last week of July, first week of August? Are we going to get big-time quarterback autos, or is Topps going to secure all of those and keep Panini from having them in their last year in this NFL licensing era? So curious to see what that looks like. Obviously, that's going to be such a big thing. As I stand here right now with just the first round and who Panini has shown autographs of, don't feel terrible. Definitely glad they have some guys to put in that product. Feel like with the Mahomes and the top rookies they've got so far, feel good. Obviously, Cam Ward definitely hurts. I'm sure we'll see the case hit run there to, have some cards to chase of Cam, but we'll see. So that is definitely what's on my mind. Outside of the draft, or outside of the autograph piece of the draft, first real topic, again, is just going to be the draft in general. Some interesting things happen round one. Not super surprised about the Shedeur thing. Could have seen it going either way. I know there was a lot of talk to Pittsburgh, to New York, there was a few different places that could take him. Fell through round one. Jackson Dart coming in. When I think about the draft, I think about it from a card perspective. Certainly that's where my mind goes. Done this forever. So I'm thinking about who are the teams to chase in group breaks? Who are the guys you want to look for? We talked about this with Gaby with Gaby Card Stacks when we did the bonus episode last Thursday before the draft happened. Some ones that stand out, again, the Jackson Dart Abdul Carter to the Giants in the first round definitely adds some demand to the Giants in group breaks, and just in general, the 1A, 1B defensive player in the class looks like Micah Parsons 2.0. I don't like Penn State. That dude's awesome. I wish the Patriots would have got him. And then you add the second quarterback off the board, Jackson Dart, where he doesn't have to come in and start. You've got Russ. You've got Jameis Winston. Build up some talent. You've got Neighbors there. They still got more picks. We'll see what else they do in the draft, but like that right away. An interesting defensive one later, Malachi Starks, safety from Georgia. Georgia produces some dogs, no pun intended. But to go into Baltimore, a team that is normally they're one of the better run organizations. They do a great job drafting guys. I'm not a Ravens guy, but I will always say, man, the Ravens do a good job. You're going to pair Malachi Starks next to Kyle Hamilton. That's a heck of a 1-2 duo. Same thing with the corner Barron that the Broncos took to pair him next to Surtain. That Barron kid, I got to watch him play against Ohio State. Dog there. Did get to see 4 Buckeyes go. I know we talked about that with Gabe. Around will Penn State or Michigan top Ohio State in the first round? Ladies and gentlemen, that did not happen. 4 Ohio State Buckeyes go in the first round. Tyleik Williams, Josh Simmons, Emeka Ibuka, and Donovan Jackson. So 4 of those guys. Expect to see more coming off early tonight. Travion, Jack Sawyer, JTT. Where will Denzel go? Denzel Burke, Will Howard. So hopefully a record-setting weekend for the defending national champion Ohio State Buckeyes. But James Pierce coming up late, 26. If you look last year, I think we talked about this for some content, but James Pierce was projected number 1 pick going into the college football season. just freak athlete, incredible length. Had some off the field stuff. He drops late. Falcons come back up, make a trade, grab Pierce late. I like James Pierce a lot. Again, if he can keep it together, insane ceiling. Mahomes add, in my opinion, the best offensive tackle in the class, who just got hurt, tore his patella tendon. A lot of these picks, man. We're going to see what happens, but really exciting first round. Some good wide receivers, couple running backs. I think you only got two last night. Again, more coming. Yeah, I feel really good with how the first round went and feel really excited. So hopefully some fun stuff in day 2 and or rounds 2 and 3. I feel pretty good early on there. All right, other thing here. We are officially, if you are in Columbus, just a quick little plug here. Today is Monday. When we drop this episode, we're less than a week away. Grove City Card Fest, shop anniversary this weekend. Again, if you're in the Grove City area, if you're in the Ohio area, I'll get into the shop anniversary and what that means. But we've got some big stuff coming this week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. 4 days for 4 years in our new location. And then Sunday, May 4th, Grove City Card Fest. First time ever putting on a show. So excited to talk more about that on a future episode, likely next week's episode, and just on how that went. But if you're in the Columbus surrounding areas, big weekend, Grove City, Ohio, this weekend. And then next weekend, I know we've talked about this briefly. Hopefully have him on the pod here soon. But Gary V will be in town at the shop, trade day, really the first trade day at our shop in 25. We did one offsite for Topps Hobby Rip Night. But Gary will be in town on the 10th, Saturday, May 10th, 12 to 3 trade day with Gary at the shop. Expecting a big time crowd. Have some fun things planned there with Gary. So we'll drop a full-length YouTube video kind of explaining more about that process and what that's going to be like, as we're expecting pretty good attendance there. But excited, honored, privileged to have Gary at the shop, somebody that has been so impactful on my journey in life, yet alone in cards. If you know just kind of how I got started and what really motivated me and kind of pushed me over the top, was certainly Gary's content. Sitting at a desk job I did not enjoy, 2 computer screens, Gary's content on one, my work on the other, just kind of watching that content over and over and over again for a few years. Just kind of gave me that push, that motivation I needed to really follow my passion and take a chance on this. And it has been a privilege every day to be able to do this full time, and could not I don't think I would have ever been here without that content, without Gary. So met him, quite a few times now over the years. I remember some of my first interactions with him, but he's been the same person every time. Just A+ dude, always just real, down to earth. Just always has time. So big fan of him, and will be incredibly honored to have him in little Grove City, Ohio here in less than 2 weeks. So if you're in the area, come by. Would love to have you. All right, let's get into it today. Again, short and sweet. This episode, this interview on this episode is really one of my favorites so far. Ryan is incredible. His story is a lot of fun. Just hearing about what he did before then. I won't spoil too much of it. What he does now and how he's building a big time Pokemon business. So excited for you guys to hear this. So let's kick it over to our interview with Ryan's Cardhouse. All right, what's going on, guys? We are back. We've got an exciting interview today. A few weeks ago, we started getting into the Pokemon craze a little bit in the intros to the podcast. We said we need to get someone on here who knows Pokemon. Who should we have? And the majority answer every time we asked this question was the guest joining us today. So ladies and gentlemen, I would love to welcome our friend Ryan to the podcast. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Excited to talk to you today about Pokemon and anything and everything.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Ryan's a guy that I followed in the Pokemon space. I'm not super involved in it, but there's a couple of the Pokemon content creators I have followed. So I followed your story for a while, so I know a little bit about it. But for those who maybe don't know about you and your story, I'm going to start there with who you are and how you got here.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I'm Ryan. I own Ryan's Cardhouse. How I got into the hobby. I was in 2011. I was 21 years old. I wanted to be a firefighter, and to be a firefighter, you have to go to EMT school and to paramedic school. I was in paramedic school at the time, and it was pretty expensive. I was paying about, for me at the time, it was expensive. It was about $1,250 a month, and I was barely coming up with the money. And I was at my parents' house, and downstairs in my parents' basement, I found my old Pokemon binder from when I was 9 years old. I pulled it out and I started looking through them, and I was like, I wonder if these are worth any money. And so I went on eBay and I looked up all the last solds, and I was like, holy crap, these. I have about $800 worth of cards at the time, and for me at the time, I was like, that's like 90% of 80%, 90% of my monthly school payment. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna sell all these on eBay, and so I did, and they all sold for right around $800, and I paid that next month payment, and I'm like, okay, I'm short of money again. I was like, I wonder if people or parents were throwing these cards, first of all, away, and then number two, are they throwing them in garage sales on the weekends because their kids are moving out for college? It's all about the right time, right age.
Yep.
I was like, I'm gonna go to garage sales on the weekends from school. I'm gonna look for Pokemon cards and see if I could find any to flip on the side. So every weekend, I went to looked up different garage sales on Craigslist and just drove around the garage sales and just started trying to find Pokemon cards. It was fun for me at the time, also for extra money, and I was learning about the hobby and about Pokemon cards back then. So I started flipping. So I found like a binder. One the biggest find was like a binder for $5, and I started going through. I basically bought a binder blind because the lady's like, I want $5 for it. Like, here, buy this whole box. Had a binder in it. Looked through the binder. Had a first edition Blastoise in it. Had a first edition Alakazam. And at the time they're very expensive, but back then, for the whole binder, made about $5,000 off a $5 purchase. And I'm like,
Oh my
holy cow, this is wild. And so I just started going to garage sales and doing that. And the community at the time, there was no Instagram. The YouTube was just starting to blow up, so I made my own YouTube. Started making some videos of what I've been getting, what I've been flipping. And the Pokemon community was on YouTube back then, and just started growing my community on YouTube and started buying and selling from different people on there. And yeah, so went to paramedic school, became a fireman, and was firefighter for a while. And I kind of dropped Pokemon at the time because I got super busy with firefighting.
Yeah.
I got back into Pokemon in 2016 when I was mopping the kitchen floor in the firehouse. The news comes on. We had a little TV in the kitchen, and it says first edition Charizard sells for. Oh, I forget the price. It was like sells for $10,000 and a PSA 9. It was on the news. I'm like, what? Like, I had that card, and I wonder if I could go to more garage sales, and now they're like 10x the price. And so got back into it in 2016, and been flipping cards in 2016 ever since, and haven't stopped. And then started doing box breaks in early 2019 on YouTube, and then in early or late 2019, Whatnot reached out to me. It's like, hey, like, we want to bring on more Pokemon streamers, and I ignored them like 3 times. I was like, I don't know who you guys are. I'm doing fine on my YouTube. Like, I don't know. Like, I thought they were like a scam at first, and then I was like, they kept calling me. I was like, okay, fine. Like, if you're calling me that much, I'll give it a shot. They invited me down to like Southern California to their headquarters, and went down there, did a box break with them. I was like, these guys are legit, and I want to do live selling. And so early 2020 got onto Whatnot, and then started streaming myself. And I like swore to, like, I'm a vintage kid. I'm 35 years old now, and I only like vintage Pokemon from 1999, 2000, Gym Challenge base set, and Team Rocket. So I just only did old school, box breaks.
Yep.
And then started doing box breaks on there. And then when Pokemon started releasing all the alt arts, like for Sword and Shield, for Evolving Skies, I got heavily into modern. I was like, this is cooler than I think. So I love these cards. I love collecting the Moonbreon. I love collecting all the alt arts. So I just started doing modern pack breaks and stuff like that. And it turned into a business at that point in 2022. I was like, this is more than a hobby. It's more than a side hustle. This is getting wild. I started gaining tons of followers. I had like 50,000 followers at the time on Whatnot. And I was like, I was streaming every day, and I just really couldn't. I was like, I could hire someone and I could stream every day. So I just started hiring my first streamer, and then so on and so forth. It just kind of compiled onto there. And now I have 12 total employees, 6 different streamers, and we're on eBay Live now streaming Pokemon 7 days a week, 16 hours a day right now.
Man,
and that's how I started essentially.
that is incredible. I told you before, I'm very excited for this. So a lot to unpack in that, in an incredible intro. First and foremost, man, what props to you. A huge thank you. I mean, what you, I think we talked a little bit before. You just literally retired from the paramedic.
Yeah, so I just retired from being a firefighter paramedic for 17 years.
What a
I
guy.
was so essentially when I was 18 in 2008, I became a seasonal firefighter, basically for wildfire stuff in California. And then so since then to now, it was nearly 17 years, and I just retired last week from the fire service, all because of buying and selling Pokemon and streaming. It's pretty crazy.
Very, very cool. Well, I didn't realize, when we were talking beforehand, how similar a lot of our stories are to each other. My timeline is very similar to a lot of yours, and like when I got into it, when I started full time selling, the live piece. So this is gonna be fun because while I don't do the Pokemon stuff, and you're super heavy into it, I think we're gonna be able to share a lot of similar stories on this. So I'm excited to learn from you and hear more about you and what you guys are doing. Now, when you got into the content, one of the things we've talked about on the podcast lately is just how big Pokemon is. What seems like now, it was blowing up during COVID, right? Because everything was blowing up.
Yep.
What what I'm curious from you, there's going to be two pieces to this. One is the similarities around the content, but also the card piece. What are you seeing now from a content perspective? Is Are you seeing things with like views, attention, styles, things that are different or similar to COVID? Like, where's the content piece of the Pokemon game taking you the last 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, so I've been heavily investing into content. I hired my own videographer, social media manager. I was doing everything myself up until about 6 to 8 months ago,
Okay.
and hiring my videographer and my manager for that has been extraordinary and very, very helpful. But really, I mean, um, we focus on basically three different platforms. Like you said, you're huge into short form content, which I am huge in as well. Like we
Yep.
mainly focus on short form content. So we post on three different sites, which is TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and Instagram Reels and posts.
Yep.
We find a lot of success on all of them in different ways. There's kind of a different audience in all three of them.
100%.
So we utilize that to reach different audiences and different age groups really on all three different devices or different platforms. But yeah, since COVID as well, and you asked about how it's kind of different from COVID from to now. Um, in COVID, we had a lot of people enter the hobby, and then a lot of people exit the hobby after just because of money. They see them big flashing dollar signs in front of them. They want to get in, buy, and then sell, and
Yep.
then get out of it. And so now we have more of a healthy um, time right now where there's a lot of people in the hobby to be in the hobby because they love Pokemon, they love collecting, and there's just a mass amount of people compared to before COVID. Like I wouldn't say a number, like probably it feels like 100x more people are enjoying the hobby than they were prior to COVID, and I don't know, it's just incredible. So
Now, have you, because we agree a lot. I know we talked about this prior, but we agree a lot on the short form content and the value of what that can bring. Brian and I felt like super early in the TikTok space. I know that was something that originally when it, had come out was more of like a kids or like, younger audience. But we were super big into that. YouTube Shorts has been a big one. Instagram Reels has developed a lot. Have you always been in the short form content space, or how has that evolved? And it was that a COVID thing where you changed? Is that more of a recent thing? Talk to me a little bit about that piece of it.
yeah, so I've really always been in to the short form. I was when I started back up in 2016, like I said, I basically was asking around on YouTube, like, hey, like, where is the Pokemon community in 2016? And people are like, oh, go to Instagram, go to Instagram. Like, that's where all people are buying and selling. That's where people are collecting. So I made my own Instagram. That's when I made Ryan's Cardhouse Instagram in 2016, and that's where everyone was, and that's where the attention was on Instagram at the point
Oh yeah.
in 2016. And so that's where I would just post and post and post everything that I collected, everything that was going to sell was mainly on Instagram. TikTok wasn't around in 2016. YouTube was obviously, but YouTube didn't have YouTube Shorts.
Yep.
So I always struggled with the long form content on YouTube because I wasn't a very good editor. I didn't know my background was not in editing or any computer science whatsoever. So I struggled with editing. And so I kind of just mainly focused on Instagram because it was user friendly for me. And I really hammered down Instagram and I grew a huge community on Instagram. That's where I kind of focused.
Yep.
And then once like Instagram or YouTube Reel or YouTube Shorts came out. Then we started posting on there because it was a lot easier to make YouTube Shorts and long form, and they performed 10 times better for me. And then TikTok just really took it to the next level, and I can't give enough props on how much TikTok helps grow the business and how amazing short form content on TikTok is.
For sure.
It's like no other. It's incredible. So if anyone's not posting on TikTok, post on TikTok regularly. You'll see the benefits. I promise. It's crazy.
I think that's, again, I want to get into the card piece of this soon. I didn't anticipate going into content so early, but
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that's often overlooked, and I would imagine you will speak similarly, is posting them on the same piece of content on different platforms is, there's no crime. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's you know, we do that a lot. Like, not every piece of content is like that, but if you could make one piece of content that you can post across 3 to 5 different platforms, leads to a lot of opportunity. And Brian and I talk a lot about it. It used to be like, hey, I follow you on Instagram, I listen to the podcast, I watch your YouTube. You'd be amazed, and I don't know if you could speak again similarly, but we get a lot of comments now where it's like, hey, I love your TikToks. It's crazy to hear that in 2025. It's not something I ever anticipated, but TikTok is great for reach and discovering, a whole new world.
100%. Yep, we get that too. Is it kind of shocks me too when you said that it shocks you. You're like, wow, like I thought I would just post on there. Didn't think it was going to have a reaction like that. And we've been getting a lot of that too, especially too like lately. Honestly, too, like TikTok is so amazing for that. YouTube Shorts is starting to come around, and we're getting a lot of people lately. I mean, like I found you on YouTube Shorts or on YouTube. I'm like, I totally forgot. I forget. I post all the same videos on the three platforms of TikTok, Instagram Reel, and YouTube Short. And a lot of people recently have been coming up and be like, "Hey, I found you on YouTube." I'm like, I totally forget I post on it because it was never a focus on of me to post on there. But it's been incredible posting on all three different platforms to reach the maximum audience. So I agree with you. Is like you have to post. I highly suggest posting on as many platforms as possible because there's no harm, no foul. You don't have to make a new video. Just post it on all three and see how they do. One may do really good and blow up and have 1 million views, and that same video may have 1,000 on the other platform. So you just
100%.
never know where they all three might do well, and you might find someone that you could connect with, or not even just for business, but maybe something that you could show gain benefit of posting on all three different platforms.
For sure. For sure. But talk to me a little bit about, as somebody that does not follow the Pokemon space regularly. Ironically enough, have the base set booster box behind me. I got into it, right around the same time you did. I was young, early grade school. I saw the rise during COVID, but it definitely feels different from an outsider's perspective that there is a resurgence in Pokemon in I'm going to call it, again, could be a novice here, 3 to 6 month period. We've definitely seen an uptick in Pokemon. I'm speaking from our stores, our website, like our volume internally. But it seems to be more demand at shows. From like a setup perspective, a lot more people dealing with Pokemon, a lot more people asking for Pokemon. What you talked about it because we have similarities. The card market saw people come in and out, right? Chasing the money stopped, people left. Some people built businesses, some people stayed. There's a lot more interest in it now. We share that. But why now are we seeing this, and where do you think it's coming from?
So obviously this is opinion. I noticed a huge, because I've been doing this obviously streaming before this certain jump it's all have to do. It seems like it follows Pokemon sets and how well Pokemon's doing. The Scarlet and Violet era of Pokemon wasn't very good in the beginning, the first couple sets. And then what happened was they brought Surging Sparks into the mix in the new Pikachu alt art, and they did such a good marketing campaign around that it for some reason brought in a mass wave of Pokemon collectors and flippers again. Like these people that wanted to basically call them scalpers, right?
Yep.
It was they like underprinted, they estimated the market at the time because they weren't doing as well the other sets. They underprinted Surging Sparks, and it created such a high demand for people wanting to chase that Pikachu card that everyone wanted, and there was nothing on the shelves anymore. There was not enough printed, and it was just caused chaos. And Surging Sparks was really like the pinnacle of the new hype, and that just basically sparked the market again. And then after that was Prismatic Evolutions, which was arguably the best modern set to release since Evolving Skies, and then that created such a hype and underprinted product as well that it just created such a huge demand. And we're seeing that still to this day, that people got into the market, and it feels like more of a there is the people that want to make money and like the scalpers, but there's with that comes real collectors and real, like, I really say, like, parents that want to collect for their kids and with their kids. I feel like that's a much bigger bigger wave of people that actually want to collect with their kids, that they collected back in 2016, back in for themselves, and then now they're starting to have kids, and we're kind of like in that. I kind of feel like we're in the era of like when we collected as kids, we're having kids now, and our kids are becoming the age to collect Pokemon. There's a huge wave of that, and they kind of just, I think Surging Sparks, I think social media is driving the hype as well, to where people are seeing this pop up on their Instagram reels, on their YouTube shorts, on their TikToks, and it's all driven by social media and those posts. You're like, oh, I love that card, I'm gonna get into it. And then your son, that you're like, hey, do you want to collect Pokemon cards? I used to collect Pokemon cards. I'm like, oh, that looks cool. And so they started collecting together. I think that the wave of healthy collectors with their parents are getting in the hobby in droves, and it's driving demand like crazy. And along with the scalpers are trying to do that too. It's just such high demand that it's hasn't slowed down at all yet. So that's why I think the market's going so crazy.
So when did the Surging Sparks product drop? Like, has this been, because Prismatic Evolutions, I definitely remember the demand for that. Like, as somebody who is an outsider in this space, that was nuts. With Surging Sparks, are we talking like 6 months? Are we talking a year? Like, do you remember when it released?
So it released November 8th of 2024.
Okay.
So we are not even a year in from that. That was the wave of, like, in November, it just started going crazy. So, and soon as like the pre-release stuff was coming out, like even prior to that, like October, I remember it was just such a different world of all of a sudden this wave of people coming in being like, I want that set. How do I get that set? How do I pre-order it? And so from October to now, it's just been a freight train of just every new set that comes out, every set that hits the Target shelves is just completely gone. Lines around the building.
Yep.
So November, early October of 2024 is when it really started to take off massively again.
So it seems like we've got really like just like the perfect storm for this as an outsider, right? You've got a limited release or an underprinted release. You've got folks our age having kids with the collectors, or kids that, or people that like us that used to collect have kids. They're getting into it, yep. Right? And then you've got the social media aspect of it, of blowing up the attention around this
yep.
this market. But you posted on your Instagram, I think it was early April, I think this was April 3rd, around the tariff piece, right, coming
yep.
under the current administration. And I'm going to read the quote. It says, 24% tariffs are about to rock Japanese Pokemon market. The next few days and weeks are going to be interesting to see how this already crazy market reacts. You've got this perfect storm. Like you said, everything seems to be hot. I want to get into it in a second, but the next release seems to already be insane. How have you seen the tariffs in such a short period of time? Is this a good thing for the market? Is this a bad thing? Like, where are you seeing that, and how is it affecting the market that's on absolute fire?
Yeah, so obviously, since I posted that, that 24% tariff was just announced, and Japan was a part of that. 50% of my product that I sell is Japanese Pokemon product. And why that affects the market so much is Pokemon does So whenever they're going to release a set, they release it in Japanese in Japan, a month to month and a half prior to the English release, and that shows if that set's going to be good, how in demand it's going to be, and if people are going to buy or going to be excited about the English release coming the next month or month and a half. And so Pokemon has been the reason why I said that quote as well is because the new Team Rocket set, the most hyped set to be released in Pokemon since the year 2000, since the old school Team Rocket came out, was releasing only a few weeks after those tariffs went into play. And what happened was the Japanese market, they're smart, they're business people, they tried to take advantage as well, and so they played some games. But all they said when I went to go get a quote for my pre-order for Rocket and for the new set that was prior is basically go, hey, here's your price, and here's a 24% tariff on top of it. We're not negotiating. You're paying the 24% tariff. I go, wait a minute. Let's work this out together. We don't know how this is going to affect it. Is this going to lower demand? Is it not? So you're just going to slap a 24% tariff price on top of whatever the price is inflated. And I'll go over some numbers here too, is because this is not anything that's hidden. Because if you print out a Pokemon box in Japan, it's supposed to cost $30 to $35 retail to sell. The boxes that are selling from distro in Japan, like I just bought the Team Rocket set. When I first bought it for pre-order, I paid $200. That means that the wholesalers are making the difference between 30 and 200 right now.
Cow.
Plus a tariff on top of it. And the tariff obviously got dropped from 24. Now it's a obviously the administration is changing tariffs every single day. It's going crazy. No one knows what's going on the day-to-day basis, but it's still a 10% tariff right now. So right now it's a $200 box plus a 10% tariff on the pre-order. What happened when I just got my first wave and I got it yesterday, it was $200 a box. It's supposed to be a $30 box. It's crazy. So it's still in demand. And I got to pass that on to my customers, obviously. So we do box breaks for this. We have to break it down and sell every pack for a certain price for everyone to get it. Because imagine if you're just a normal person and you have kids and stuff like that. To buy a box that's supposed to be 30 and now it's 200, and then you got to pay a tariff on top of that, and that passes along to someone that it comes to me, and then I have to sell it, right? So tariffs on top of something that's already inflated. It needs to be, I think it's going to, the reason why I put that quote too is it's going to have to be negotiated, in my opinion, with the wholesalers because they're already making so much money off their product. It shouldn't just be thrown on top of it. So we have to negotiate. And so basically what I did too is I negotiated with them the tariff, and now it's 10%. So it's a lot more doable. 10% I think is doable, but anything more than 10% is going to be tough, especially in this market.
Well, that's absolutely crazy to hear that kind of jump on this product. But did I hear you correctly that this Team Rocket set that's coming out, I don't know the exact release date, I just know from my understanding it's the next product to come out. But did you say that this is going to be the hottest release since 2000?
Well, that's what they were saying. So like the Team Rocket, everyone was waiting for this. So the last year when Pokemon announced it in Pokemon Worlds in Hawaii, they just basically flashed the Team Rocket symbol with Mewtwo flying by, saying that there's going to be a Team Rocket set next year. And the release date's today. It actually just released today. So that was the most anticipated set ever in Pokemon to come out, because it's one of people's favorite sets from old school Team Rocket that came out in 2000. Is the reason why I say that. So that's why it's so hyped, and why it was the most expensive Japanese box to ever release, for $200, basically what they were selling for in Japan pre-release, which is crazy. That was the most expensive box to ever sell a modern Pokemon on release day.
Yeah, this is crazy. We have this up here. It looks like the Pokemon boosters for the English set are, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but $250 plus for a booster box.
Yeah, English right now is going nuts. Like, yeah, ETBs, booster boxes are going crazy. ETBs were in the 200 range too. It probably dropped off. I think the set was a little less. They were hoping for better Pokemon in there. There's a Mewtwo in there, but Pokemon, they were kind of waiting to see if there was a Charizard, if there was a Gengar. Those aren't in there, so the set I think is going to go down in price a little bit since people are hoping for those cards or those Pokemon to be in this set, and since it's not, I think the price is going to go down. It's not It didn't come out to be what everyone expected it to be, so the price will come down, but it'll still be pretty pricey when the English set releases end of May. It's supposed to come out.
That's when the English set comes out. Gotcha, gotcha.
Mhm.
Well, that's crazy. So we started November, hot, hot, markets blowing up. This product's gonna come out. It's also on fire. One of the biggest releases. Is something going to slow this down, or do you anticipate this trend keeping up for the foreseeable future? I mean, Fanatics Fest is coming up. The National, I know those are more sports card related, but like Comic Cons in New York in October. Like,
Yeah.
do you see this kind of? Do you guys have like a slow period in like Pokemon market? I mean, it's not seasonal like sports as much, where like baseball's on, but
Sure.
football's in the off season. So like, do you see something slowing this down, or is this full steam ahead with Pokemon right now?
So what slows Pokemon down? I think you brought up like the seasons, right? No, it's not baseball season anymore. It's not football season, or it's back into football season. It's kind of hyping up again. Um, it's all up to Pokemon on if they deliver good sets people want to collect. We saw the last downturn was when they got into the beginning stages of Scarlet and Violet. It became to where like, hey, there's no good Pokemon that people want to collect. The favorite Pokemon of people, if it's not in that set, if there's no Gengar, Dragonite, Charizard, the big ones, then people tend to like, hey, I'll wait for the next set, and that'll slow Pokemon down. The hype of it, at least people trying to flip it, and because they no one really wants those cards. So it's all up to Pokemon. If Pokemon the next set releases a set to where there's none of the big Pokemon in it, and it's just kind of a new set that people like kind of iffy about, then it will slow down. But it'll always come back when that next set comes out because they will make a set with the good Pokemon again. They're not ever going away. So unless they want intentionally make them go away, but there's always going to be a next favorite Pokemon. So we saw a little bit downturn again. Scarlet Violet. Now it's just been set after set of insane sets that people want, like the Pikachu, the Gengars, the Charizards, the Mewtwo's, and as soon as Pokemon makes a set that no one's really excited to get, then it'll see a slowdown. But even if that happens, I think the community is so healthy right now. You say healthy in a sense was like kind of crazy right now. People are like, I can't even get Pokemon cards on Target. It would be nice to see. I don't want Pokemon to not make a set that's cool, but at the same time, we may need a reset of let's settle down a little bit and let people get some Pokemon on the Target shelves again, so people don't leave the hobby either and get frustrated.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was gonna ask you, right? Is if we're on this like full steam ahead, and you've got this next Pokemon box coming out, that's I mean, $250+ for a booster, modern day booster is seems like a lot, right?
it's a lot.
It, because you don't necessarily have like serial numbered cards, like where the exact amount is. That's what I was gonna ask you. Is like, is it healthy for your market for just awesome release, awesome release, awesome release, awesome release, awesome release? Because it seems like at some point, if the demand just keeps like, if you just keep putting out great releases, does one get overlooked? Does it, like you said, can people just like, okay, I can't keep affording $300 booster boxes? Like, it seems like you said, like that reset, like that maybe the lesser product might not be a bad thing to kind of like let people almost like reset with like their attention, their hype, and their money.
What I would like to see from Pokemon is I would love to see amazing sets after amazing set after amazing set. Like, don't let off the gas with that. Is I just want to see Pokemon print to demand and print a lot more than they do. I think that's a problem that Pokemon just can't keep up with the demand. And if they print enough of an amazing set to go around for everyone, um, I think that's what's needed. And they've come out with statements that they're going to be printing to demand as the new sets come out, and even the sets that are in demand right now, like Prismatic Evolutions, they came out with two different statements saying they're going to print a lot more of them and reprint and reprint and reprint. But we still haven't seen those on the shelves yet, and it's significantly delayed. It's just showing that how long it takes them to reprint to catch up to the market. And they've made that announcement about a month and a half ago, and we still haven't seen any on Target shelves, Walmart shelves, nothing. So, and people are still saying we can't find them anywhere. So, I think Pokemon just needs to start printing more as the new sets come out, and hopefully that'll just lower the prices and it'll help people get what they want when they want it.
Now, if somebody's like me and maybe they've seen a set or two, and they've got friends in the space that collect Pokemon, but they're not like super into it, or they want to get into it with their kids and they want to learn more. If somebody comes up to you and says, "Hey, like, where can I learn more about Pokemon?" What do you normally recommend as like, this is where I would recommend you start?
Social media, all of social media, and then see what you like. It's pretty easy right now. Is social media is abundant. Um, Whatever your favorite social media platform is, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, others, type in the search bar whatever you want to look up and just try to find your favorite creators. You'll find a lot of different people talking about Pokemon, and search the social media, and you'll come up across a lot of amazing content creators. There's not one in particular that I'm like, you should go to this person, because we're all different in in little different ways, and you can learn something from everyone. So enjoy. That's one of my favorite things to do. Is like I don't consider myself a Pokemon expert in everything, so I still absorb so much content from different creators. There's so many amazing creators out there. Go to those search bars and every single social media, and type in whatever you want to look at. So you type in Pokemon cards, prismatic evolutions, scroll, and you could see, you'll know who's a good source of information, who's not. And you could also Google it, but yeah, browse social media and look up your favorite content creators.
I love that. Love that advice. Now, I want to pivot a little bit more back to, you. We got into the content thing pretty quickly and, the strategy there. Then we get into like how crazy the market is. But, you started uploading YouTube videos almost 15 years ago. You now have a company with double-digit employees. You stream 7 days a week, 16 hours. That didn't really happen overnight. What would you say, because again, on this podcast, I love to talk about the card piece of things, but also the content piece of things. What were some of your challenges, whether it be when you came back or the very beginning? What were some of the challenges into getting into content and getting into the like flipping resale, like this is what I want to do kind of life?
So I felt like when I started this business, I felt like I fell into it. So the challenges prior was like, it was finding the time to really say I'm going to do this full time. Like this is something I can't let this opportunity pass me by to do something that I love and make a living off of it. So the challenging part there for me was balancing my full time firefighter career with my Pokemon career, essentially, or live streaming career. That was tough, and also have a family and a wife and kids. I have two kids as well, so finding that and learning that for myself has been the most challenging but rewarding process of my entire life, and will be forever, I'm sure. So that's been challenging, is managing my time, and I'm still learning, but I've learned over the years to manage my time, and that was just essentially, they call it the grind, right? It's like I would go to bed. What really helped me was going to bed super early when my kids went to bed, and I would get up at 4 a.m. I've been getting up at 4 a.m. for a few years now, and getting up at 4 a.m., getting stuff done in the morning, and just keep your head down and keep moving. And so the challenging part of that is time management for sure.
Man, I know we had passed by in a conversation and like our worlds hadn't collided, but I definitely didn't realize like how similar some of those stories were. That was definitely one of my challenges, is the time management piece. Like, I think we share a similar admiration for Gary, for Gary V, right? Like I was
Yep.
working at a job full time, two computer screens up. One was data entry, one was Gary's content, and he was just real big about like the auditing your time, right? Like
Yep.
I connected with this, where it was like you can't come home and say how much you don't like your job or how stressed you are, all these things, and like not be willing to do anything about it. So I was really big on the time management piece, where it's like, okay, I've got this time, from here to here, I'm gonna spend it with my wife. But because I didn't have kids at the time, I didn't have a mortgage, so I was like, I'm gonna spend this time with my wife. But then we were together in it, where it's like, from this time to this time, I'm gonna work on my craft. And it could have been content one day, it could have been listing cards on eBay, it could have been buying
Hmm.
cards, it could have been shipping cards, it could have been taking like photos and videos for content, but it didn't matter what it was. But I think that was one of my struggles too early on, is like managing everyday life when you are already committed to another job, relationships, friendships, family, those things, and squeezing in something you want to do forever that you're so passionate about that you enjoy more than most things. That is a hard thing to do. It's not like you're just like, cool, I want to do this. I got all this free time. Like, you got bills to pay. Like, it doesn't just
Yep.
happen overnight. And I think that is something I share so similarly with you that is that was one of the biggest challenges for me was the time management of how can I be everywhere at one time.
Yep. And you bring up Gary Vee is like honestly like I like if I without Gary Vee I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you right now, for sure.
For sure.
Um, for sure. There's no doubt
Yep.
about it in my mind. So he's a huge influence in my life, and yeah, it's crazy. The amount of lives he's changed is incredible, and yeah, I would not be here talking to you right now with this business if it wasn't for him in early stages as well. Like years ago, I was listening to him.
Yeah, that's
So,
man, that's this is as really a full circle moment for me. Yeah, it's we sat at that. I tagged Gary in some of my content. He'll be out here for a trade day on May 10th. Because
yep.
Brian's got your video up here where you went to his office and got to rip some packs with him, and
Yeah.
yeah, that is the truest thing in the world for me. So it's really cool to be able to especially a guy named Ryan. I mean, I gotta love that for
Yeah.
sure. Just to talk to another Ryan who had a
Yep.
very similar story, who watched Gary's content, inspired him to do this full time, to build something. I share a lot in common from the sports side, from the life thing. Although you're in Pokemon and I'm in sports, it's crazy how similar they are. So,
Yep. Extremely
um,
similar. Yep.
what I'm curious from you, right? As we sit here now, it's hot. We're talking about do you cool it down? Do you get it hotter? Whatever it may be in the short term, long term, right? 5, 10 years. As we look out in the longer time frame for Pokemon, what do you think that looks like?
I think it looks like everyone that is in it for the money only is going to get out of it, just like how COVID happened. But I think there's going to be a bigger percentage, and every time there's going to be this is in long term, and it's going to be like this, like the stock market is. There's going to be ups, and then there's going to be downs, and there's going to be less people leaving every downturn because they're going to be stuck and hooked on the hobby. And I'm already seeing that as well. Less and less people leave the hobby every single downturn because they love it and they love collecting. And I think for years and years, because my son now he's 7. His favorite thing like you could tell him like you want to go to Disneyland or you want to go to Ryan's Cardhouse, and my Ryan's Cardhouse is my commercial building with all my cards and all my streaming stuff. He's like, I'd rather go to Ryan's Cardhouse than Disneyland, because he loves now Pokemon. He loves to see packs opened. He loves the energy, and the kids that I keep saying is the reason why this is going to last so long is that the kids are going to start collecting and they're going to stay in it, and then they're going to have kids and their kids are going to start collecting and they're going to introduce them as well. So if you ask a kid right now like what's their favorite card, it used to be for me and probably for you too is the base set and limited Charizard. You have that box back there.
Yeah.
If you brought that base set limited Charizard and an Umbreon VMAX from Evolving Skies and you showed it to a 7-year-old, my son even, and anyone else, they'll go, I want that Umbreon over that Charizard. Even the Charizard's worth 10,000, that's worth 2,400. I'd rather take the Umbreon. But that shows you it's healthy because they're going to collect that, and that's going to be their Grail growing up, and they're going to pass that down to their kids. So it's just going to keep going as long as Pokemon stays around, and I think it's going to be, the ups and downs, but it's overall going to be healthy, more healthy than not.
I love it. Now you mentioned, grails, like we've got different grails, and you mentioned the Charizard and what that is, and I know behind you there, I can see it a little bit. I think it's over your left shoulder. There's a couple things.
Yep.
There's a few. I think it's a shadowless set you showed me on the
Yeah, I can
left
just move
side
this
there.
over here.
Yep. So that is the shadowless
Yeah.
set, and then the other one's an uncut sheet for somebody that's
A
got
base.
what is
Yeah.
that?
So that one's the uncut sheet of your base set box, base set unlimited Pokemon.
Okay. So you've got that, and then
Yeah.
the one next to it's the shadowless set.
Yep, that's a complete set of Shadowless with the red and yellow cheeks Pikachu, with the Shadowless Charizard, everything, all the hollows, all that kind of stuff.
So as someone that's got crazy stuff like that, just some big time Pokemon pieces, is there something to you that you consider a grail that you're still chasing these days?
Yes, I still haven't got it to this day. I've always had PSA 9s of it, BGS 9.5s of it, but it's the first edition PSA 10 base set limited Charizard. Um, and I always keep passing up on it because I always feel like I could try to find a better deal than that, find a better deal than that. I passed up a first edition base set Charizard PSA 10 for 43 grand, and I right before COVID, and I thought I was like, that's crazy. I don't know if I could ever spend 40 grand on a one Pokemon card. But here I am today. I just passed up on one that was 165 grand that just resold for like 220. So I'm like, what the heck? So that's my Grail. I'll get it eventually. I just don't know when because obviously running a business, that money could go to a lot of different things like product and employees and business rent and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
Growth.
But I do have my Grail right now, which is the first edition base set booster box. Um, got this for a pretty good deal, but my intention is I kind of consider this not in my collection because I know I'm going to break it open. So it's not my sealed collection, but it is mine. First edition base set booster box. That will be broken hopefully on eBay Live in October in New York Comic Con. We shall see.
Now, I wasn't anticipating asking this. I just thought of this as you showed that. I've got the booster box back there. You've got that one. If somebody is interested in maybe these high-end type collectibles in the Pokemon space, where do you normally recommend people go if they approach you and say, I want a pack of first edition, I want a Team Rocket booster box? Like, if I, you and I have a relationship, if I come to you, you could probably source it, but doing that for everybody is probably much harder. So where do you normally recommend people go to source maybe some of the more expensive stuff? Because I'm sure there's fakes, I'm sure there's resealed stuff,
Yeah.
I'm sure you run into issues there. So is there like a better spot than others maybe to kind of find that stuff?
Yeah, it's like in the hobby, we still have people that it's huge right now, and they've been in the hobby for a long time. Is people that flip vintage boxes, right? And that's their main business to sell vintage, high-end products of Pokemon or even high-end cards of Pokemon. I have like three people that I always go to because I know if I ever get something that's faked or it's resealed or something happened, they're gonna have my back 100% of the time. They're going to give me a refund. I have nothing to worry about, and they're such big experts in the hobby, anyways. I don't even ask questions. They'd be like, "Hey, I want this box," and they said, like, I won't even check it because I know that they're that trustworthy. So I have three different people that I always go to, and as well as like obviously like you could go to the big auction houses like Golden, Alt Marketplace, or some of the two big auction houses, and obviously Fanatics. I'm a huge before Fanatics bought PWCC, but I was a huge PWCC buyer. I used to buy all the time on PWCC, which is now Fanatics Collect. I still buy in Fanatics Collect every week for my personal collection too. But other than that, like I'll shout someone out. The main person I buy from a lot of times is the Pokemon Network. His name's Ken Lee. Everyone knows him in the Pokemon hobby. Very trustworthy person. Really good person.
Love it, love it. Well, I appreciate the shout out there, so we can maybe check him out and see what he's got going on. But I'm always curious about that because again, as somebody that doesn't know it, but like wanted the booster box, like I used an auction house to buy mine, so that's where I bought it. But as somebody that's not super in the space, it's like, well, if I reach out to like a bigger content creator, can they just find those things, or is there somebody you trust more than others? So just as somebody who's wanted them but unsure, just always curious on like where to go. Now, one last question before I ask you my final one here. Talk about the Pokemon market over 5-10 years. You've got a Grail. What would you buy today that you would say, I like this? Investment advice and not an investment advice, but buying something today, you would say, I would want to hold this for 15-20 years. I like this long term. Is it an uncut sheet? Is it a set? Is it a box? Is it a card? Where's your mind go first on this is what I would buy to hold for a decade plus?
So yeah, again, not financial advice, but I'm gonna get my collector mind out of the way. If as a collector, I would say a first edition PSA 10 base of Charizard, but more than a better return than that, I believe, would be buying a bunch of booster boxes or packs of Evolving Skies and sealed and holding them, putting them in your closet, putting them in your attic or storage facility. Evolving Skies booster boxes or packs or blisters, whatever you can get your hands on. Buy those right now. Store them. Come back 5 years later, you're gonna be well off.
Good to know. Good to know. Not a
Not
financial
not financial
advice,
advice.
not financial advice, but a helpful tip. Now,
Yeah.
I could sit here and talk for hours, but I value your time so much, and I always end the podcasts, our guests, with the same question. And because I'm so fascinated with your story, I've got to ask, knowing what you know now and building this for 10 plus years over time, you've done it the right way. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself?
To not my advice is to me is because I put a lot on my shoulders and I'm hard on myself. So I would say one piece of advice for myself is don't be too hard on yourself. So that's what I would put something simple, but I'm always hard on myself and sometimes too hard on myself to where um, it's a negative. So I think don't be too hard on yourself, and everything's gonna be okay.
I love it. Great advice. Um, Genuinely appreciate the time and appreciate you coming on here. Again, we could talk for hours. I think you've got a fascinating story, and I think you're building something really, really cool. If people want to learn more about you, they want to check you out, whatever you may be doing, where can people find you?
Well, I have the three platforms. So I have Ryan's Cardhouse. It's the same name everywhere. It's Ryan's underscore Cardhouse on Instagram, YouTube, and on TikTok. And as well, we stream live 24/7 almost, 7 days a week, about 16 hours a day on eBay Live, which is Ryan's underscore Cardhouse. You can find me on eBay and eBay Live.
Love it. Love it. Well, thank you so much for the time. Thank you to everybody for listening. Make sure you guys check out Ryan, but that's all we got for now.
Thank you.
Shout out to our guy Ryan for coming on the pod. Again, make sure you guys check him out. Really big fan of him, and again, to see those similarities between his story and mine was really, really cool. So definitely rooting for him, and hopefully we can keep in touch with him and hopefully have him on the pod here in the future should the Pokemon market change at all. So again, check Ryan out. Definitely a good dude. Product this week. There's a good bit of product. Again, we've talked about this in previous episodes, but seems to be a lot of momentum right now around new product coming out. The big one this week, for sure, no questions asked, no ifs, ands, or buts. Flawless Basketball. 23-24 Flawless Basketball drops this week. This is the premier product in basketball cards. I know occasionally Panini will do Eminence. We've seen some big things from Topps, for sure. That is not to discredit those. But this is the best basketball product they make. This is high risk, high reward. This is where the big hitters are. This is your big ticket right here. Flawless Basketball. We've seen some previews from Panini, some logo man patch autos. I think there was like a Tim Duncan All-Star logo patch auto. There's some big time stuff in here. Unfortunately, we don't have Victor autos. Topps has that, so we unfortunately don't have that. But some really cool cards are going to be hit from this. You're going to see some big time things pulled. Excited to see what Panini's done on this. I know they shared some stuff on social just around what they've got coming for this, and this is big. This is a big time product. These are into the five figures. I think case prices now are over $20,000 on the market. That's for 2 boxes. I think they're like 10 cards. Yeah, 9 autographs or memorabilia and 1 diamond. Brian has it up on blowout cards right now. So 10 cards per box. You're looking at an over $10,000 price tag per box. That's $1,000 plus per card, and that's a good bid. So crazy what's going to come out of there. Panini has shown those pictures and it looks amazing. But it's definitely a high risk, high reward product. So certainly the highlight this week is Flawless Basketball. On top of that, we got a couple other ones. Fun one from Topps, pretty popular one for us, is Topps Chrome Black Baseball. That is coming out this week. We've got an interesting one from Upper Deck. Fleer Scooby-Doo. Don't know much about it, but that is an Upper Deck release. Impeccable Football. This is another solid one. Those silver bars typically can do okay. Hit some big names there. So Impeccable Football, usually like a 3-box case. Kind of expensive, but has some big hit potential. Usually some solid on-card autographs. This can be a fun one. They've got I think the insert's like a statistical type autograph. And I know in the basketball market, those do incredibly well. I don't know if they translated to the football market quite as well, but a solid box coming for the football market. And then Topps Bundesliga Midnight Soccer, Phoenix Football H2, Donruss Optic Football Hobby Megas, and Prism Premier League Soccer. So good variety this week. A lot of different products. I mean, you got Scooby-Doo, soccer, baseball, basketball, football, literally a little bit of everything. But no doubts about it. Flawless Basketball is our big winner this week. So that is another episode, another one down. Have some big stuff coming. We've spent some time really planning some of the upcoming guests, some of the upcoming episodes. So I'm really excited to show you guys what is on the horizon. As always, submit those questions, shoot us DMs, any of that feedback. Always love learning. Always love trying to improve this and get better. So hopefully this is providing some value to you. If it is, check us out on Instagram. Follow us on there at Cards and Content. Leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or maybe a thumbs up on YouTube if you watch on there. But for now, guys, that is all I got. Peace, guys.